Thank you all for coming. My name is Jorge E. Rice III. I serve as the director of the Presidential Scholars Program here at Montgomery College. It is without a doubt a pleasure and honor and a privilege to see you all. Thank God that you all had traveling mercies getting here. I'm also serving as one of 3 co-chairs for this year's Maryland Male Student of Color Summit. We have been doing this thing for some time. It started first in 2013. And so on behalf of our outgoing, one of our outgoing chairs, Dr. Carmen Poston Farmer Travis, who says her regrets she cannot be here today. In the spirit of excellence, she's actually receiving an award for her dissertation. And so this is her baby, to say the least. So she was beyond conflicted. But as we all know, in the spirit of adulting, sometimes you have to make adult decisions. And so don't be in a hurry to grow up, but all the same, she sends her regards. And also Dr. Brandon Wallace, who is a professor here at Montgomery College, he just became a father a couple of months ago. And so for the safety of his daughter, Zora, he found it not robbery to stay at home and take care of home. And so he sends his regards, but he also sends his blessings as well. Let's do a roll call really quickly. Let me see who's in the building. Is Prince George's Community College in the building? Make some noise. All right, all right, all right. Is Warwick College here? They're on the way. That's all right. That's all right. Is Harvard Community College here? Okay, all right, all right, all right. Is Anne Arundel Community College here? Okay, all right, all right, all right. Is College of Southern Maryland here? They're on the way. It's all good. It's all good. Is Frederick Community College here? Okay, all right, okay, he's front and center. Last but certainly not least, is Montgomery College in the building? All right, all right. Listen, you all, what we have today for you is Howard Community College. Are y'all in the building? Woo! I love it. My apologies. Is there anyone that has been overlooked? My apologies. Please do not worry. I know more folks are on the way. Let me say this really quickly. Our theme, and I want to explain why we have the theme that we have. And the reason that I need everyone, especially attendees, especially the students, I need for you all to pick up masks during the day. Our theme is real conversations. When the committee sat down and we talked about what this particular event should be, they said, we want these young men to have real conversations. And so I said, as we're coming out of COVID, unbeknownst to all of us, COVID was an internship that none of us signed up for. And it taught us something. And as I've done this work with young men for over 20 years, which is crazy because I'm only 21, I realized that there are just some things in terms of generational conversations that have not happened. And so our theme is removing our masks, mastering our emotions, and manifesting our manhood. Unbeknownst to us, there are some masks that we've been asked to wear by the generations before us. And it's unfair. It doesn't matter where you grew up, how you grew up. It's one of the things that we get to do, that we need to do. And this is a very safe space. It's an intimate space. And when I say intimate, I'm saying these conversations are for you to take whatever mask you've been wearing off so that everybody can see who you are, not just what you do. Okay. And as we talk about mastering our emotions, let's just be honest, fellas. Growing up, we were only told that we could express 2 separate emotions, extreme happiness or anger. But there's more to us than that. And so today, with the presenters that you have some phenomenal presenters, you have some phenomenal people in the room. I want you all to literally let your hair down. Talk about the things you fear. Talk about the things you need help with, okay? This and every opportunity you have to connect with other brothers is an opportunity to be a part of your own healing process, okay? Now, we're going to have some fun, okay? but I want you all to really take advantage of the moment. I challenge everybody today. Meet some people you've never seen before, faculty and staff, other guys from other institutions, okay? And so here's the assignment for the day, and I'll introduce our president, and I'll get out of your way. Here's the assignment for today. On the front of your mask throughout the day, if you hear a principle or a gem that somebody drops in your session, I want you to write it on the front of your mask. If there's a mask you've been wearing, maybe you brought it here, I want you to write, today I'm going to take this mask off. Okay? I want you to also talk about the emotions that you need to master in this season, not next season, this season. And lastly, I want you all to explain to yourselves and maybe other people what it means for you to manifest your manhood. And when I say that, sometimes people may misread that in terms of what manhood is. Manhood is a lot like success. There's several different definitions. There's no one cookie cutter definition for what manhood is. And when we manifest it, let's just walk in our own birthright in spirit and truth. Let's be authentic. Okay? And more than anything, brothers, let's take off our masks. Let's speak to each other. Ask people how they're feeling. Let's do that. I do that all the time with my scholars. I say, hey man, how you feeling? Don't ask how you doing. Because you give me the F word, you say fine. All right. So listen, I am going to get out of your way, and I'm going to introduce to you all our 11th president and our fearless leader, Dr. Jermaine F. Williams. Please give him a round of applause.
All right, how's everybody doing? Good. It's really, really exciting to see all of you here this morning. Welcome to Montgomery College. I just truly am appreciative of all of you. Truly am appreciative of seeing so many wonderful faces, so many men of color and supporters of men of color. And before I move on, I do want to send a special shout out to one supporter in particular. There aren't many of us in the country, and definitely aren't many of us in the state. I'm referring to community college presidents. So the 11th president of Frederick Community College is with us today. President Cheek is here. And if she could just, there she is, give her a hand. So know when you go out this day and throughout this day, and before you even came into this day, I hope you know, but hopefully this is a reinforcement of how many people and how many places and spaces are created to ensure that we can help you identify your goals, help you achieve your dreams in a way that is equitable. And for those over Howard, you saw me take a picture of you probably because I'm gonna send it to your president, because Dr. Willis is always on social media. So if you saw me doing that, probably gonna tag her. But I'm here for a good time, not a long time. So I did want to say welcome. I wanted to say thank you for being here. This truly is one of my most favorite events of the year. Montgomery College has been hosting this for several years. Dr. Brown knows this is one of my absolute favorite events to attend. I want to share a few things really quickly before I leave, and they are really about learning. And I think Mr. Rice really set the stage for learning, right? So I'm going to ask, as you go through the day, and maybe this is a nugget, maybe it's not, it is for me, so I'm trying to pass it on. Think about how you're learning, how you're engaging with learning. It's good to see you again. And I want to think about this. Think about learning continuously, right? You're going to keep learning new things, and think about learning fast. How many people game in here? Game. How many people game? Yeah, probably more, but yeah, right. How fast do you need to learn when you're gaming, right? And you're in your gaming community, and you figure like, oh, how'd you do this? How'd you do that, right? You're learning, and you're learning fast. And one thing, last thing. So learning fast and continuously, and unlearning, right? I want you to engage in this idea of unlearning. There's things today, I'm a little older than 21. I know Mr. Rice is 21. I'm like 22. But there's things today that I was taught much younger than all of you that I'm still unlearning so that I can progress, right? It's a natural part of what we do, and it opens up gates, right? It creates bridges of opportunity for us. I will say this, it may also be a little uncomfortable because sometimes the people who have taught us are people who we trust and people who are put in front of us to share these important things, right? That doesn't mean we can't have a difference of opinion. That doesn't mean we can't unlearn in order to learn differently, in order to learn more, in order to learn faster and continuously. So I'm encouraging all of you to embrace, as we are at an institution of higher education, to embrace the idea of learning and the multifaceted concept of learning, right? Learning continuously and fast, and unlearning, right? Just keep that with you throughout the day. I know it's going to be a great day, and I think is Dr. Brown? So thank you all. Everyone, let's give each other a hand of applause. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. Thank you all for choosing to be here. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to Montgomery College, and on behalf of the Chief Student Affairs Officers Affinity Group, and I have a couple of my colleagues here today, we collectively, as 16 community colleges, sponsor this event every year, hosted here at Montgomery College. So it's our great pleasure. I just want to take a moment to acknowledge Dr. Melissa Gregory, who's here, Dr. Benita Rashaw, and we are standing in the gap for our colleagues who are not here with us today, but have certainly supported this event from the very beginning. So thank you all for, again, choosing to be here. I have the opportunity this morning to introduce our keynote speaker, and I'm going to tell you now, just based on my conversation with him this morning, you all are in, we all are in for a wonderful treat, because I'm going to tell you right now, you better pick up everything you can, because I'm going to get some too, right? So that said, let me do what I was asked to do this morning. Yes. I have the pleasure of introducing Jorge Sierra. He is a motivational speaker and a self-change advocate, taking his audience by storm with his transparent and inspiring story of triumph and perseverance. Due to his former affiliation with gangs, Jorge was gunned down, leaving him paraplegic at the age of 17. Over the next 24 years, Jorge dedicated himself to changing his mindset and environment. He threw himself into his craft, becoming a licensed master barber and Class 1 cosmetologist. He is also an instructor and evaluator in multiple states. As a member of the ETA Certified Speakers Program, Jorge studies under the tutelage of world-renowned motivational speaker and author Dr. Eric Thomas, whom he credits for changing his life. The series of changes he made allowed him to no longer be confined to his mental wheelchair as well as his physical wheelchair. Jorge now uses his life experience to motivate and guide students to destroy their own mental wheelchairs. He's helping them see past their physical and mental challenges so they can walk in their purpose. Jorge shares his message with schools and organizations and has even spoken to the NFL's Carolina Panthers. You may want to stop and speak to another team who's preparing for a divisional game this weekend before you leave the area. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, I digress. But that said, let's give honor where honor is due and clap it up for our keynote speaker, Mr. Jorge Sierra.
Hey, God is good. God is good. I appreciate y'all. First of all, before I do get started, I just want to shout out Coach Rice and the rest of the faculty as folks that, are very intentional, making sure they bring the right person into this room. And so please, round of applause for him and for the rest of the team. That gentleman right there has been A1 since I've met him. Character to me speaks everything. And so, yeah, an honor and a pleasure to come into your space and serve. Thank you so much for having me. Here you go. I am so blessed to even be in this room, and I'm not saying this just to say it, but as I sit here, your reflection looks right back at me because you are me and I am you. Does that make sense? So I want you to take a quick second, right, and really celebrate yourself for being in this room. So round of applause to you. Now I'm going to say this. I'm all about energy, right? I love energy. So before I get started, right, we celebrated everyone. I want to ask permission to come into your house and do what I do. We family? Dr. Brown, I don't know. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? You tell me to go in the refrigerator, but then you're like looking at me like, all right, let's try this one more time. I don't like to be confused. Are we family? Okay, I like that. When I say I'm all about energy, I'm all about energy. I pop willies, right? Like that's what I do. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. I don't act like I'm something I'm not. I promise you. So what I want is that I want to be able to take off my shoes and get comfortable and really have a conversation and let's build. Is that good? So whenever I say one time, I want everybody to clap 3 times. Now, mind you, through my presentation, I want you to stay ready. Because that's what life is all about. It's not when you decide, it's not when you think it should, it's just staying ready. Because we look a certain way, we sound a certain way, so there's a certain expectation from us from the rest of the world. You with me? One time. That was cool. But I had a high school that just, they were out here, do some grown folks thing. One time. Okay, one time. One time. One time. One time. One time. Stay ready. Stay ready. Stay ready. So, now that we got that out the way, and we know what the expectations is, I want everybody to I want you to take the moment and listen to what I'm going to share, because I'm going to share my story, but this is not about Jorge, right? This is about you. And we're here to celebrate you. We're here to celebrate the fact that you're inside this room and you made some decisions, because I truly believe, and my life has spoken, that our decisions design our destiny. And so I live by a certain mindset. I live by the refuse to lose mindset. What is the refuse to lose mindset? Never give up, right? That's what it is. We're in a generation, we're in times right now that all we do is make excuses. And I want you to understand our excuses, even though they're valid and what you're going through is valid and what you're feeling is valid and what you're coming out of and what you're about to enter, it's all valid, but it doesn't excuse you. I think you missed that. Let me take that back. Your excuses, our excuses don't excuse us. One time. Y'all not ready. This is what I'm talking about. We are expected to stay ready at all times. I didn't get here by mistake. Some people say you're lucky, Jorge. No. I put my head down for the last 27 years and I owned everything that I did wrong, and I designed my life the way I want it to be now. Period. One time. One time. So, coming up, I'm from Connecticut. Growing up, I grew up in a household where we were welfare recipients, government assistance. Inside my household, there was drug abuse. There was only 2 male figures in my household, grandfather, uncle, both of them were heroin addicts. So by the age of 6, I remember running from room to room, playing. And I remember catching these 2 individuals with their needles in their arm, right? So early, I was exposed to a certain environment, and I'm sitting there, Dr. Brown, I'm sitting there, and I'm like, there's 2 types of people I'm noticing, whether it's in my household, outside, or in school. You had the victors and the victims. And so I grew up with this mentality, this mindset, like, yo, I don't know what that is, but I don't want that. These 2 guys, grandfather and uncle, stealing from the house, stealing from us, just their behavior, their addiction was so cancerous, alcohol involvement. There was fights every holidays. Like when I say the cops were always called, we couldn't have a celebration without something happening. It started programming something in Jorge, and it started really creating this thing, this ego. By the time, now mind you, I grew up with no father. My mother was at home because my mother had me at the age of 15. So me and my mother had a relationship, was more like brothers and sisters. I was raised by my grandma. All females at home, because the 2 male figures that I just explained weren't really too much of a role model. By the time I hit freshman year, I promise you, I had this I don't care attitude. We family, right? Yes. All right, who's dealing with that I don't care syndrome right now? And I appreciate you, because honesty is what saves us, and it's going to deliver us and free us. I don't care syndrome. I don't care what you say. I don't care. I don't care. The reality is that was a product of my environment. As I enter freshman year of high school, mind you, I already gave you a little glimpse of what I was dealing with. I wasn't in school. I wasn't acting up. I wasn't disrespectful. I wasn't your higher achiever. Why? Education was not celebrated at home. Period. So nobody sat down with Jorge and said, Jorge, do you have homework? Jorge, is there a project? Jorge, where are your grades? A lot of stuff that we, at this point in our life, we hate. But if you do have that in your life, be grateful for it. That's called structure. And even though you think you don't want it, and it's a pain in the butt, we all need it. And so as I went into school that freshman year, I promise you, the only thing that really engaged me is that I always loved sports, but because I came from a background with no support and there was nobody really pouring into Jorge or watering Jorge, I was doing it by myself and had questions that I had to answer for myself. And so I remember I was like, yo, I just want to be part of something. And so I remember, going into school and there was this tryout for basketball. And Coach Wright, I promise you I never played basketball, but I was like, yo, I'm going to try out. A little chubby kid, had the short shorts, the socks all the way to the knee. Don't judge me. I thought we family. Don't judge. You see? Y'all judging me already. And so as I went and I got cut, I was disappointed, but I felt good because I tried it. And it was new to me. I mean, everything was new to me. So I was just in school lost. Mind you, I just didn't know what direction. And then I heard this thing called this tryout for football. And I did the same thing. I said, well, why not? What I got to lose? Because I haven't been winning. I hope you caught that. Why not? Some of us stay on that, I'm not winning, so I'm going to stay here and not win. I'm like, okay, how's that working? And so I tried out, and I made it, and I was actually really good at football. And I actually got what I wanted. There was a coach, and coach was actually stepping in as a father figure. And he was really giving me direction, discipline, having me run up those hills backwards. And I was like, bro, I didn't sign up for this, but I loved it. And while everybody on the field was complaining, I loved it because I came from no father. I came from no figure. So I was like, please tell me what to do. I hope you didn't miss that. Please tell me what to do. And coach was tough on me. And I remember I was having an amazing season. And after the season was over, he said, yo, Jorge, I see you doing this at a high level. And that did everything for me because I've never had a male figure. Now, mind you, this was a Caucasian man. But I wasn't looking at color. I was looking at a man that was willing to pour into Jorge and really embrace who Jorge was. And the crazy part about it is I was celebrating that opportunity, and I was just starting envisioning myself what was the, and I was getting ready for I believe it was wrestling. I had the news that they said, Jorge, you can't do no more sports because you're not eligible. Why, guys? Education was not celebrated at home. So even though I was doing what I needed to do in the field, I would show up, I was the first one. Even though family didn't come to practice, but I was happy. And I was all right being celebrated by other parents, right? Even though when games were up and nobody showed up for me, I was just like, They said, well, you're not eligible because your grades are not a part, so you can't play sports. I made a decision. To design my destiny at that moment. I decided to walk out of that campus, that school, because I had that I don't care attitude no more. And so I dropped out in 9th grade. 2 years into it, I'm in the streets, start packing guns, start selling drugs. I got affiliated. I'm S on my chest. I think I'm Superman because I moved out of the house 15. I was already out the house. I was moving like I wanted to move. I had my voice. 2 years of that, I promise you that my mindset was just all over the place. There was a particular time that I'm walking downtown Bristol, Connecticut, and as I'm walking downtown Bristol, Connecticut, I promise you there was somebody in front of a brick building. That brick building happens to be the police department on the first floor, courthouse on the second floor. And I start talking to them, and what I realized is that literally 2 or 3 minutes before me arriving there, they were playing with a cap gun. You know what a cap gun is? Toy gun, plastic toy gun. So they call the cops and say, there's some young brothers out there in front of the courthouse police department with a gun. They put us all against the wall. Did they find a gun? No. What they found was crack cocaine because I had just picked up work and I had it on me, and I'm sitting here talking to these dudes with work on me. So I get caught with crack cocaine in front of the federal building, the doorsteps of the Bristol Courthouse Police Department, and talk about the most idiotic decisions I've ever done. So they walk me into the building. I still to this day can't get over that. I mean, for real, I'm like, bro, what was you thinking? Coach Rice, they walked me in the building. No cop, no, just, come on. He was laughing. Like, you for real? Like, what is going on here? But that's what we call that paralyzed mindset. A month after that, I got lucky. I got bailed out, and I had to go see who? The judge. Now, I'm still a minor, so my mother has to come with me. And I remember clearly, May 2nd of 94, I walk into that building, and we'll go up the front stairs of the police department and go up to the second floor, which is the courthouse, and we sit into the courtroom. And as I'm sitting there, my mom is giving it to me because how many of you guys know Spanish moms who got one? She was not letting it go. I'm like, I'm about to go to jail, and you still putting this, like, I didn't know whether I was all right going to jail or just dealing with what she was saying and doing at the moment. And as I said that, I'm saying to myself, I was like, yo, I learned that from you. Like, you want to sit here, but what you do? And obviously, I'm not saying it to her because I need her. But that's just the mindset. I'm giving you a glimpse of I'm still not owning up to my decisions. I'm still blaming her for lack of father, lack of trauma, lack of. As the gentleman walking through that room, and I look to the right, dude starts throwing a gang sign. He gets on the phone. I get on the phone. 4 more individuals come. We're throwing gang signs inside the courtroom. Now my mom's like, Jorge, por favor. And I'm like, nah, you ain't nobody disrespecting me in front of my mother. Now let's keep it 100. Was it really about my mother? That's that ego talking. That's that pride talking. That's that I ain't gonna be a victim mindset. And so that verbal altercation turned into what? A physical altercation. Now they're dragging us all down to the bottom of, they're bringing us to the top of the staircase. And as I explained, we're on the second floor courthouse. As we go down the bottom of the staircase, I'm saying to myself, this is about to get real. Now I'm going to have to fight all 4 of these dudes inside a cell. When we get to the bottom of the staircase, if you take a right, you go into the police department. If you take a left, you go outside. To my surprise, where did we go? We took to the left. As I jumped outside, and I literally jumped in front of my mom because I hear her on the left side of my say, Jorge, there's a gun. I jumped in front of her, When the first bullet hit me and it pierced through my body, it just stopped me on my track. When the second bullet hit me and pierced through my body, I said to myself, Jorge, they trying to kill you. I turn around, try to run right back into the building. I collapse, I fall on my face. Four more bullets pierced through my back. Now I'm not sitting there talking about what set I'm repping. Was it my father? Like, who was I blaming? Now I'm like, I can't feel my legs. Like, I can't. It's May 2nd of 94 at the doorsteps of the police department, 12 o'clock in the afternoon. And the only reason I didn't die that day is because the ambulance was actually having lunch in front of the courthouse. So now I'm sitting there and I'm saying I can't feel my legs. I want to share a video real quick. One thing I want to be clear on, that we're not here to compare narratives, right? We all go through traumas, and my trauma is not worse than your trauma is not worse than mine. It's just trauma's trauma. And what you're going through, you have to understand that it's valid to feel what you're feeling. I've been in a wheelchair for over 27 years. I got gunned down at the age of 17. No father. Back in the 90s, man, it's not like, you know, you had your local barbershop or your local individual. You most likely had certain dudes in the block, and those were the ones that influencing, or someone at home. Welfare recipients, drug abuse was huge in my household. And so through that process, I remember dropping out of high school. 2 years after that, you know, due to involving myself with gangs and guns and drugs in the streets, because that was my perspective of what life was. And so that ended me only getting shot 6 times, but I got gunned down in front of my mother at the doorsteps of the Bristol Courthouse Police Department. I was thinking about, like, yo, I can't feel my legs. If I had to describe my emotion, I was devastated. I felt less than. I felt like women wouldn't look at me any longer like they used to. I felt like dudes didn't have no respect for me because now they look down on me. I felt like I lost my masculinity. I felt devalued. I felt broken. But literally, I started feeling and understanding that, okay, Jorge, you can't sit in that space and feel defeated because people get aggravated. So let's get your money up. Let's get to a position that you can actually hire people and you can actually do certain things for yourself. And that's where, when I found Barbary, I was like, yeah, and we're gonna turn this into a business. And that's where I started creating that my excuse don't excuse me mentality, right? Yep, you're a paraplegic. That doesn't excuse you to go out there and make something out of yourself. Yep, you're a paraplegic. That doesn't excuse me not finding love and eventually getting married. My highest grade that I've ever achieved was middle school, but that never became an excuse. Once I started really realizing that I was letting the world fix me to become something I'm not, that's when the game changers started coming in. And so I said to myself, if I'm gonna be in this chair, I'm not gonna be overweight, unhealthy, and look sick. I'm gonna make this wheelchair look sexy. The chair I can't control, but what I can control is how I look, how I smell, and how I operate. The reality is that I started chasing Jorge, and everything else followed. And so once I opened up to, to this opportunity that I had of becoming a barber, 20 something years ago, man, I'm telling you, it was nerve-wracking. It was scary. I didn't know what the end goal was, but I knew something different had to happen. And so, for the grace of God, man, I ended up at Rob Roy Academy. It was a life-changing for me because it really showed me how to go through process. And this is when I really, through this barbering school, is when I started really understanding the process of life, right? How to interact with people. It wasn't about just learning how to cut hair, but it gave me the tools of life, and not just life, business. We're more than just barbers. We're the catalyst to the world. We're what makes the world goes round and round. And through that process of going to school, eventually graduating from school, becoming an instructor, eventually, becoming part of the Massachusetts Barbering Board. Not only becoming part of the Massachusetts Barbering Board for several years, but also being a state evaluator. So not only I educated you at the school, I was one of the ones that tested you at a state level, and then I was one of the ones that recommended you when you actually got called. So when I tell people I dominated an industry that consists of standing up, I did it sitting down, I promise you I did it sitting down. And so everybody laughed at me in the beginning. Everybody questioned me. And mind you, I had questions myself. But what I did know is that I couldn't go back to what I was doing. That wasn't it. It was either gonna be life in jail or 6 feet under. And I wasn't gonna cop out to that. If anything, I got lucky with the wheelchair. But I share this with you because right now you sitting in that chair, you doubting what God put in front of you. You doubting yourself. And so mind you, I come from a background with no education. I don't have no artistic, I learned the trade, right? So I don't draw, I learned the trade. But through that process, I found out my biggest gift is people. I know how to connect with others. One time. One time. One time. One time.
One time. One time.
That's just a glimpse. So I sit here in front of you because I understand. And I want you to understand what I said in that message when we're not here comparing narratives. We all going through something. Don't ever get it twisted because I'm here, I got shot 6 times, and no. Mental health is a real thing. Being a man and being a hold and wearing certain characteristics and titles and expectations is a real thing. I'm sharing my story because I want you to understand that we have what it takes to become who we need to become and who we choose to become. Like for real, for real. I'm not sitting up here just trying to be deep about anything. You see, when I meet people, the first thing they say is that I'm sorry. And I smile and I say, what you do? What you sorry about? I'm like, nah, because you got to deal with that. And I'm like, what? And mind you, I know what they're talking about, but I've never owned this. Some of us wear our problems on our sleeves and we look like our decisions. Yeah. Write that down. Write that down. Right? So when they ask me that, I'm like, so what you talking about? Like, nah, you got to deal with that chair. And I said, and I smile and I said, my reply is always this. Way before I got put in a physical chair, I have what we call the paralyzed mindset. And I hope you got that. Because even though I'm contained in this chair, I'm not confined in this chair. And some of us are physically able and willing and can do certain things, but we're paralyzed and we're celled up and we keep ourselves trapped in our thoughts. And so the refuse to lose mindset comes from that of me not making excuses for whatever has happened to me and for the lack of love and for the lack of education that my parents or my guardians at the time didn't give me, or society didn't support me, or friendships that turned their backs on me. After I got gunned down, you think those 50 boys or dudes that I was hanging with by my side? No, because I couldn't provide any longer. So the paralyzed to prosperous mindset consists of understanding how do we get from that paralyzed to prosperous mindset, right? What's keeping us stuck? What's really keeping us in a space where we continue to get the same results? One time. One time. One time. One time. I refuse to lose. So when I say, what are we refusing? You're going to say, refuse to lose. Right? We're going to try this. So when I say, what are we refusing? You're going to say, refuse to lose. What are we refusing? That was cool. That was cool. This is the first time we try this. What are we refusing? What are we refusing? What are we refusing? You know why I wanted you to continue to say that to yourself? Because the most important story you're ever going to hear is what you tell yourself. It's a matter of understanding that we're looking for somebody to pat us on the back and say, Jorge, you're the coolie wally. Like, let's get it, guy. And guess what? Ain't no one going to come celebrate Jorge until I start celebrating Jorge. And I need you to understand that. And so before you start expecting somebody to come in and do magic around your life and your problems, you need to take control of that. There's no cop-outs in here. The most important story that you're going to ever hear is what you're telling yourself. So I want to take a moment to tell you what I always tell myself. You're worthy. You got what it takes. You have that dog in you. You have that fire in you. Jorge can't speak proper English or proper Spanish. But here we are. You feel me? Here we are. I'm in school right now, so you all students, correct? Guess what? You know what certifies me to be here? Not only that I've been an entrepreneur for over 27 years and I dominated an industry that consists of what? Standing up, I did it sitting down. They laughed at me. They questioned me. They said, Jorge, how are you going to be a barber? You see, people are going to put their lack of, and they're going to put it on you. Oh, you can't be a barber. Now, 20 years after, now mind you, my business, where in 2024 is going to be 20 years activated. That means I've been in the industry for over 25 years. Now they ask me how I do it. I don't want you to miss that. Why? Jorge started telling himself, you are a king. We all kings in here. We come from royalty. We have it in our DNA. That wheelchair that you see that most people would think about is the elephant in the room and it's the disability, it's my advantages. That's why they call me G the Barber Wheels in the industry. So wherever you think you are lacking of, or wherever you think it's a blind spot, most likely that's where your strength is. I sit here as an actual senior student. 26 credits left after this semester, and I will be knocking on grad school, Dr. Brown. You know why? Because after I get my master's in IO psychology, industrial organizational psychology, I will be called Dr. Jorge Sierra. And when that happens, we're going to come full circle back over here, all right? We're going to come full circle. So I'm not here talking to you because what did I tell myself? Okay, yo, Jorge, barbering was dope, but what's next? Now we got to sustain our family. Now we're talking about generational, right? Barbershop that's the foundation. What's next? But I can't speak proper English or I can't speak proper Spanish. Stop saying that to yourself. So I start saying that. I'm gotten better. We're going to refuse to what? That was off. We're going to refuse to what? We're going to refuse to what? We're going to refuse to what? Don't forget that. Next time you're facing a challenge, next time there's a semester that is pushing you, next time that things are not going the right way, don't forget that. Identity. Identify. Thoughts and internal dialogue control the versus the non-controllable. A lot of us right now are going through a semester, going through a season, whether it's family, relationships, finances, maybe all the above. I want you to understand that the way you get to that prosperous mindset and you get to that level of winning is controlling the controllable. Identify what you can control and identify what's out of your control. Jorge can't control the fact that I'm in a wheelchair. I can't feel half my body. I'm paralyzed. But because of my refuse to lose mindset, I make this wheelchair look sexy. Y'all don't have to celebrate that. I promise you. Why? This is who I am. So I want you to identify what that is for you. My wife always laughs. She said, you got a big nose. I've learned to love my big nose. Some of us are right here worrying about and trying to control some things that we can't control. What I can't control is how I live my life. What I can't control is the character of man that I am. What I can't control is that years back when I said I was going to do XYZ, I stopped smoking weed. What I can't control is that while I was operating in certain rooms where a gentleman like Mr. Wright comes and calls up on Jorge, he knows he's bringing a man of character into his house. So what are the things right now that we need to start identifying? I want you to take a piece of paper. What are the things you can't control? I want you to put another piece of paper. What are the things you can't control? The ones you can't control, crumble up, give it to God, and let's operate on what you actually can do. Fair enough? One time. One time. One time. Perspective, right? The power of the reset button. I'm huge with reset. What do I mean by reset? Is that anytime I'm in a position where things are not going the right way or the way I feel they need to go, I reset myself and I adjust. I'm in semester right now. As soon as I get out of here, I'm actually going to submit 2 papers and I got to take a test. And I'm traveling back home tonight. So this is not me copying out. This is me telling you I have my laptop. As soon as I get out of here, I'm going to stick around to do a panel. Mind you, Mr. Rice was like, yo, can you stick around? I was going to fly out because and we changed the flight. Adjustments. Why? Because I do believe in what we're doing here. You are so important. I am so blessed to be here. But at the end of the day, I still got to do what I'm expected to do no matter what goes on in my life. And a lot of us is copying out. And we family? New generation is a little soft. I'm going to keep it 100 with y'all. And there's no disrespect, no shade to anybody. I'll give you an example. Barbers, nowadays, they want to do shifts. Well, I did 9 to 5. Like, we do 9 to 5 in the barbershop now? When we were cutting hair, we didn't stop until the money stopped coming. Stop being soft.
Hey, down at home.
All right? Like, for real. Perspective. I'll leave you with this. Some of y'all looking at the cup halfway empty. Some of you looking at the cup halfway full. I want you to stop understanding and realizing that you are the cup. One time. One time. One time. Law of attraction. Look around. Look to your left. Look to your right. Shake everybody's hands. Like shake somebody next to you. Right? This is where you build like-minded individuals in the right place and the right time. And if you're one of those that don't really trust too much and go through, dealing with that trauma and you just feel like, that's isolation. I want you to be intentional today. I want you to go meet somebody besides the fact of the people you came with. Shake somebody's hand, grab somebody's number. The reason I have you do that one time, thank you, one time, is because if some of you guys do it and some of you don't, it don't sound right. But together, there's a different sound in here. It's the unity. And that's why it's one of my favorite things to do when I'm working with someone. It brings us together. There's a bigger goal here. Individually, we got our goal, but there's a bigger task here in hand for our men in brown of color. You feel me? Attract what you're seeking, what you want. So put yourself in those rooms, shake some hands. How much time do we have? Okay. Real quick, I told you I can't feel half my body, right? I gave you a glimpse of where I came from. I'm giving you a glimpse of where I'm at, and I gave you a glimpse of what the goal is for the near future. And in a year or two, I will be having my master's. I'm a first-time generational student. How old do you think I am? Real quick, one person. 44? 45? 37? Who said 37? Girl. That's a virtual hug if you don't know. 43?
It's 60. What is that?
But I'm with you. I'm 47. But over 29 years, they've told me that I would never walk again because I can't feel half my body. DJ, please. And I want you to know, we're going to leave it there. I want you to know that don't ever let anybody, don't let anybody ever tell you otherwise. 29 years ago, they told me, they told my grandmother and my mom in the room, and they said, you'll never walk again. I believed it for the first couple of years. And I believe this is where that mindset of refuse to lose started. And it traveled over into me in barbering, and then I traveled it into academia, because I'll be honest with you, people are asking me like, why go back to school? Why not? I grew up where I would go into the refrigerator, Coach Rice, and I would try to find something to eat, and then I wouldn't be nothing in there. I'd close the refrigerator there and come back 2 minutes after thinking there was something that was going to pop up. And I did that multiple times out of the day. I remember going to my closet and trying to find a different outfit, knowing that I had that Tuesday shirt. Everybody knew what the Tuesday shirt looked like. And I got tired of not having options. And that's why I put myself in a situation where I'm stretching myself and it hurts and it's not comfortable. And I'm in rooms where the population is half my age. I'm in a room where my professors are in their 30s and they're doctors in their fields. But because you can never tell Jorge that he's not going to do something, this is what it looks like. As I close out right now, I want you to understand this. Don't get it twisted. This is not about me. I want you to reflect on what I said today. I want you to understand that life is out there for you to take. It don't matter what you look like, where you come from, how old you are. What does matter is that whatever it is you're going through, you make the reset and adjust. Don't sit in it. If anything you got from me is that I continue to reset and adjust, and I continue to make changes, and I continue to seek and fight for what's right, for the people that I love, and for what God has trusted me in. You have what it takes. I'm not trying to be deep. I told you in the beginning of this, you are me and I am you. I'm half your age. The beauty of it is that you have information, you have inside information right now. Don't wait until you get to your 40s to start making moves. And for those that are in your 40s, I encourage you. Somebody laughed at me and said, you're going to have a doctorate by the time it's going to be time for you to retire. I was like, praise God. Because once I get that degree, I don't even got to work. Or we're going to get that degree. That's my time. I love y'all.
One more time for Mr. Jorge Sierra. We do have time for a few questions and answers. If you have a question for Brother Jorge, please use one of the microphones here. We have some time and we will be transitioning to BE.
Real quick, grab your phone, pull it out, follow me. Let's stay connected. I'm here to serve. This is not a one-time thing. Community to me is everything. Dr. Brown, I appreciate what you started here. This is, as I get into position and I start doing my dissertation, this is what I aspire to really envision, where we could make our community a lot better. So round of applause to her real quick.
Please use the microphones if you have questions.
So I had a specific question. For the things that happened to you specifically, did it affect anyone around you? So like your family, did it change them in any way for the events that happened to you?
Yes, that's a great question. Yes, we come from a long line of trauma. So my mother I got gunned down in front of my mother, right? And even though me and her were never, we're like more brothers and sisters, and to this day our relationship is not 100%, but I always seek to make that relationship better and better. So yes, it did change. And that's why I'm so, I'm so aware of making sure that my kids, I have a daughter, I have a son, he's 17 right now. Both of them finished high school. One is on his way to college, right? And so we're breaking this thing called generational curse. And so it's my job to forever pour into my mother, because guess what? Even though she wasn't able to love on me in certain ways, she was never loved on herself. And so understanding the trauma and the generational that comes behind that, I have to be the one to stop it. So yes, it shifted. Yes, we're still working on that. But it stopped with me, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
Great
Thank you.
question.
Great question.
Hello. You mentioned that one of the things you said was your weakness is actually where your strength is. Would you mind elaborating on that?
Yeah. So I'll give you an example. I'll give you two examples. Barbering, right? One of the things when people laugh, when I started coming, how I found barbering wasn't me just seeking it. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I was smoking. I was driving by the school. There was a girl in front of it, and I stopped to talk to her. True talk. She was like, "Boy, I'll call the cops on you. Stop playing." But through that conversation, she was like, "I'm not a nurse," because I seen her dressed in white, and I ended up being intrigued, and I went into the building, never came out. So when I started that journey, everybody around me started laughing at me and questioning me. And everything led to the wheelchair. Everything led to how I look, how I couldn't move, how in their head they couldn't wrap around how I was gonna be a barber, forget dominate. And so through that transition, because I ain't no punk. And I think when I say this generation sometimes we're a little soft is because we cop out. We stop doing what we say we're gonna do. And so because I said to Jorge, we're gonna finish. I don't care and I didn't know, I was questioning myself. But because I am a man of my word and always have been, I don't start something and not finish it. So on the other side of that, when I did finish, because that was gonna happen, I realized my strength was that I was in a wheelchair. So if we all barbers here, what is the one barber, who are you gonna remember the most? Why? Because of the elephant in the room. Because of what people thought and I thought was a weakness. It actually became a promotional thing. So that's where G the Barber Wheels came in. And when I go in there and I pop willies inside of them and be like, "Yo, you that barber, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, you already know." Another hand is just my upbringing, getting gunned down. It took a long time for me to step into who Jorge is and be fully who I am. Right? I go to corporate gigs and I do corporate speaking. And I remember my wife telling me, like, "Yo, you're going to go with your hat and your..." I'm like, "Yeah." Why not? I'm not going to throw a suit and a tie. It's not who I am. And so that has allowed me to really step into and operate off of who Jorge is. And now I could actually do and serve at a high level because I'm not concerned with what people's opinion of me is. It's me more what kind of value I'm bringing to this room today. So I hope as I came in here in this room, I shed some light and some decisions and understanding that what you're going through, how you're going through, reflecting of what people might think in certain rooms, say, "Oh, Jorge comes from a lack of education. He shouldn't be where he's at." Why do you think I'm chasing this degree? It's not because a piece of paper is going to make Jorge. I'm already doing what that degree says I'm going to do. I'm already doing it. I don't want y'all to get that twisted. The degree don't make me. But when I go into that room with that degree, they can't do what I do, but I'm going to be able to do what they do. Period.
Hello, how you doing? Thank you for coming. My name is Joel. We're part of Amisiones with Howard. One of the questions I had was, as a first gen, what helped you during school?
What was the question?
As a first gen, what helped you during school, to get through your stuff?
Community. So that's a great question. Because I'm in the season and I'm on the other side of this and I'm entering a different level to this academia journey. Stop isolating yourself. Number one, stop letting, I'm sorry if there's advisors here. But I stopped letting people give you direction, and it's all right to receive direction, but it's not all right for you to let go of the steering wheel and let somebody to drive that and think that you're going to get there. That's not all right. I need you to ask questions. I need you to be involved. I need you to be aggressive, and I need you to take no for an answer. Right? And when you don't understand something, I'm in class, I'm in the front row. I'm at an age right now, and I want you to receive this. Some of y'all still think y'all in high school, and y'all in the back of the room. Stop playing. Like, y'all not, like this is real life. Like, you either want to knock this out in the next 4 years, or this is going to be a little game, and you're just going to be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So what helped me was really identifying those behaviors that were not giving me the results I needed. Number 1, taking charge of your education. Number 2, what does that mean? Asking questions. So I'm like a 5-year-old. Like, why? But why? But why is that? Put people to work. There's systems in this school, in your school, to help you navigate and get the best results on your journey. So that's what's helped me. Community. I get to meet my professors. I know my professors. I looked into my professors. I understand what their degree is in. Right? I built a relationship with them. Some of y'all are in class and don't even, that doesn't help. Because guess what? Something's going to happen. But if Dr. Brown, I'm in her class, and I know I went through something, there's going to be some empathy. Like, you know what? Like, I'm not going to give it to you, but I get it, because 95% of the time you want to engage. So that 1% or that 5%, then we can make some adjustment, and maybe she can't do it, but she'll put me in the right room in the right direction. And that's been the secret to my success in the last couple of years chasing these degrees. Did that help?
Yeah, it did.
We got time for 2 more questions.
Hello, hello. I was just wondering, do you have any siblings?
I do. I have 3 other sisters.
Okay. So I know what you were mentioning about generational curses and the importance of pouring back pouring back into your family. So how do you go about, pouring that mentality back into your siblings?
What I've learned is, because I'm a very A-driven type person. What I mean by that, I'm very forceful with what I believe and how I want it, if you haven't gotten that yet, right? Mm-hmm. Like, when I want something, Jorge's going to go get it, right? Right? I realized, number 1, that doesn't work in every room. So what I had to really do was really just work on Jorge to a point that it looks so sexy. Nobody in this room wants to get left behind. Nobody in my family wants to get left behind. So it didn't become me telling you, but it become like, yo, so what are you doing over there? Mm. So I realized I had to change strategies and just keep working on Jorge, because I was going to make it look so sexy that I had people really asking me, yo, you got an extra chair? Yeah, y'all didn't get that, huh? So, and if you know me, I started thinking about, we can make some money off of there. But that's really how I've been able to influence my siblings. Not so much because I had to realize that I was coming across like I thought I was better than them, or I was trying to fix them. Mm-hmm. And so when someone is broken, they can't receive it. And we're broken. We're emotionally broken. We're traumatic. Like, we're broken. So when somebody's actually talking to you, that's why I had to apologize to myself, because I was like, yo, y'all being soft, but I didn't mean that in no disrespect. I just want you to realize, like, some of us just cop out too early. It gets uncomfortable and like, I don't want to do it no more. Mm-hmm. But that's why your life looks the way it looks. It's not because you can't or unable. It's that when it gets a little tighter, you let go of the grip. Did that answer your question?
Mm-hmm, definitely. Yeah, because I know I have 6 little siblings, and I do the best that I can in every moment to pour into them, even when they're going through their difficulties.
Yeah, so and keep doing that. But they learn more by what you do, not by what you say.
Of course.
All right.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
We got time for 1 more question. It looks like one more question. It looks like y'all formulating one over there. Okay.
Hey, good morning. My name is Justin B. Smith. I'm actually a student here at Montgomery College. first I wanted to say that I came in on the latter half of your presentation. However, I was enthralled and captivated by your story and your level of vulnerability and transparency, because as a leader, I feel like that's important to share and allow others to connect with you. The question that I had, because I know like I'm a student leader on campus, and it's a constant pull, from different directions, right? And you being a public speaker and motivating others constantly and constantly having to like show layers of yourself, right? How do you, what does like, I want to say self-care, but how do you pour back into yourself after constantly pouring out into others? So what does that look like for you? Because I know that a lot of us in here may not have those habits of self-care or don't know what self-care looks like properly. So what does that look like to you?
Yeah, that's a good question. Just to be honest with you, and this is for everybody here, you can't pour into no one unless you're good. So the number one thing is if anybody has ever flown in a plane, they tell you when the plane is going down, before you put the oxygen on anybody else, you put it on who?
Yourself.
That's it. So that's the first thing I want you to know. It's actually selfish of you to continue to put oxygen on everybody else around you and not put it on yourself first, because there's going to come a time that you could pass out and then nobody gets the oxygen. So I want you to reverse the way society puts us to think that if you're taking care of yourself, you're being selfish. No, it's actually the other way around, number one. Number two, you have to understand what that is for you. Some of you guys need to just unwind and disconnect. I have a particular day. I have my Sabbath. Every Saturday, I don't work, right? I do that between me and myself and my belief. But my secondary to that, it's literally working out. That's my sanctuary, right? Like I was almost 300 pounds in this wheelchair. Talk about being disabled, right? And not being able to move because of my health, plus I had the chair. So I made that into a lifestyle. That turned into where I actually just feel the best about myself. So identify, you need that one day. And you need to create healthy boundaries. And I'll leave you with this. No, period, is a full sentence.
Thank you.